Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are Online Boss. This is Jacob and this is Stella. And today we have a special guest, Franco here. Franco is a business owner and an online business coach from our community. Hi, Franco. Welcome.
Hello, Jacob. How are you? Hi, Stella. How are you?
Hello. Good.
Good morning.
Thank you
Good
for
morning,
coming
guys.
on. Thank you for coming on our show today. So why don't you introduce yourself to our audience just a bit? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to watch this from my other phone as well. So, hi, everybody. Whoever's watching. My name is Franco. Hello, everybody. Good morning again. Good morning from Canada. I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I started working overseas at a very young age. So I actually moved to the Maldives when I was 18. So that was my first international experience, and I worked for a hotel called Hilton. So we did
Oh yeah.
we did all the pre-opening there, and I was the youngest in the family because I was only 18, and I was working with older colleagues, from different parts of the world, like Kenya, from Germany, from the Great Britain, Australia, and I was the youngest. I didn't have any experience at all. I mean, I had prior experience, which is at the hotel during my on-the-job training, but that was it. There was no formal experience for me. But I moved to the Maldives. I stayed there for about a year, but I realized, it's not for me. I went back home, and I stayed in the Philippines for about 3 months. I joined a cruise ship right after, and I worked with a cruise line company for about 6 months, and I realized it's not for me again because I didn't get any. I realized I didn't get any days off, on board, and it was tough. I was young. Considering I was young, I felt that it was not for me. And I went back home again and stayed there for about 6 months. And then I joined a local hotel chain, and I worked for about 2.5 months. Sorry, for 2 years. And then I moved to Singapore, and then from Singapore I moved to Canada in 2013. So my first stop in Canada was in Fort McMurray. And then until the fire happened, the wildfire happened in 2016, I got displaced. I lost my job, and I was moving places, from Fort Mac to Port Saskatchewan to Edmonton, so many places until I called Calgary my home now. I moved here in May of 2016, sorry, in June of 2016, and then only to find out that I was sitting at, a lot of debts during that time because I had to start everything from the scratch. And that's the reason why I had to work 3 jobs, and then until I came to know about this business in 2018.
Wow. So you've been moving around on your own around the globe since you were young.
Yeah.
Don't you feel a little jealous, Stella? So nice.
I was free spirited, I love it. I had that independent mindset in me, because I saw how tough life was back home, and had to be strong.
Wow, nice. So did you have any experience from your day job, like you can bring into your online business when you started, or this is actually your first business?
This is my first business, so my course at the university and my prior experience at the corporate world, it did not correlate with the business right now. I think the only thing that I can connect to the business is basically the customer service. The way I speak to my business partners is because I was trained at the hotel for about 10 years. I've been working at the hotel, so I think that's the only thing that I could bring along with me, into the business. But apart from that, it's all about technology. So I had zero experience with this business, and good thing that we had an amazing training tools that we use.
I also work at the hotel, just so you know. I also work at the hotel, and I moved just a little hotel. I moved from different position for a bit, so I do customer service, front desk before, and also so the only thing I brought to the business when I start working online is my customer service skills. So I'm the same,
Cool.
Franco, you mentioned that you have a debt because you have to move around, right? So
Mhm.
and then you stumbled into this online business,
Right.
and then of course business also need further investment. How? What do you think before you? I know that it must be like a very big decision for you to jump into a business. Do you have any doubt? Do you have any or you just know this is for me, this is the one, because the previous one you said this is not for me, this is not for me. How what is the thing that makes you no, okay, I will jump on this one?
Right. It was a very tough decision. I've been seeing my mentors, Michelle Arceo's ad in early of 2018. I think back in March, but I only made the decision in July of the same year. So it was 5 months later that I made that solid decision. But you know what? I never imagined that I will be working online. To be honest with you, it's because back in 2011, when I was in Singapore, I got scammed online, right?
Wow.
And I told myself that I will never, ever, ever work online. Just because I lost a lot of money there. It's not investment, but it was due to a job offer that was being offered to me in London, United Kingdom. So I sent that guy a lot of money because I really, I was always in search of a greener pasture in terms of my career. And I told myself that I will never trust anyone online. And I had to break that mentality. Now, what has made me decided to jump into the online business was the fact that, the world is moving too fast and they're moving online. You know,
Mm.
when I moved to Canada, I was banking online, I was shopping online, I book my tickets online. Pretty much, I do everything online and told myself, Franco, the online space is the safest place to actually work. And when I came to know about my mentor's business, I'm not related to her at all at any levels, but I stalked her. I was watching her daily life and how the business was gradually changing her life and the people that she loves. And I told myself that this is actually a legitimate business. Plus, in my head, I told myself that I think Michelle, which is my mentor, will never ever do something that will actually jeopardize her citizenship or her residency in Canada, because I know that she has shed blood and tears just to be here and to be a resident. And that was that part and that consideration actually made me jump into the business. Plus the fact that I've been seeing from our community how this business is changing the lives of so many people. That has been my biggest wake up call, and I told myself that yeah, this is it. This is for me.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, how long you been working online now? It's been almost 4 years.
3 years actually.
Three years. Right.
Last July, yeah, July 18.
So, how did your success online change your personal life?
You know what? It has changed so many aspects, in my personal life. First is, the way I think, my mindset. I had to break that employee mindset too, that sense of security that we all have because we were employed, once in our life. And I had to break that even in
Mm.
fact, before I became my own boss, I supposed to actually quit from my last job, which is at the hotel. By the way, I had three jobs, so I was able to quit from my two part-time jobs in just 2.5 months of doing this business, and 11 months later, I was able to quit from my full-time. But my accountant and some of my friends were actually encouraging me to actually quit from my last job, which is at the hotel, on my 6 month of being a business owner. But the thing is, I was fearful. I was so scared about what's waiting for me at the end of this journey. I thought that this was just hype, it will go away, and this kind of stuff. And I had to break that mentality. Right now, in terms of decision making, I am now more bold, in terms of making those decisions. It's because I have transitioned from employee mindset to entrepreneur mindset, which is something that I'm grateful about. Apart from that, most of the first time in my life and the first time in the lives of the people that I love happened through this business. My first time of being my own boss, the first dream house that I was able to build for my family, the first iPhones of my siblings, the first swimming pool that we were able to build because of this business. Countless of people that I was able to help, in terms of donating some of my earnings through this business to these people who had nothing, especially back home in the Philippines. I was able to send 20 students back to school last September of last year because of this business as well. I was able to donate some food and clothing when the volcano eruption happened back home, and we also helped quite a few families, in terms of the basic needs like food, rice, and this kind of stuff when the pandemic happened, because most of the people have lost their jobs back home. So many things have happened in my life, and I couldn't be more grateful. And just so you know, I became my own boss in September 1st of 2019, and 2 years later, here I am, talking about how amazing this journey is. So I could testify, and I could proudly say that this is not hype. This is a long-term business.
Wow. I think the transition between employee into entrepreneur mindset is really crucial, and it's hard at first, but once you're in it, you know that you just have to make it through, because you don't have any option anymore. When
True.
we have like the monthly salary, you will think, okay, I still have like that safe line.
Yeah.
But I really adore you. Wow, you've done so much for your family back home.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I also knew that you are a coach, and then you have a team that you help. Um, uh, is there like any things that you done to help them, because you have a great mindset? How do you transfer that mindset to your people?
Right. Honestly, like what I mentioned, mindset is hard, right? Like it's hard to develop because the change has to come from you. It shouldn't come from any other person, right? What I could do, and what I share with my team is basically, my experience in life, and I kind of, relate it to the business at the same time, because I know that at the end of the day, it all boils down into how badly you wanted to succeed in the business, right? And whenever my business partners, come across, challenges in this business as well, that's when my experience in life and the mindset that I've developed kind of kicks in. I will tell them that this is the way you have to do it. This is the way you have to think about it, and that's when it comes handy to them. I have to say as well that you can change the mindset of everyone, but you can be an inspiration. So whenever you share your journey, whenever you share what you have been through in life, that's where they will pick up some bits and pieces, and eventually they can apply it towards their business. So I have to say that it's not the way I train people, it's not meant for everyone in my team, but I'm glad that 80% of my team are actually picking that up, and eventually it gets contagious, that other people who doesn't think the same way that we do, eventually after some time they will be thinking the same way too. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I think that when we do the business that we do, we kind of have to wear different hats in different roles, right? So what do you think the biggest factor that will determine a person's success online?
Sure. Before I get on to that, hello to our 17 viewers. Hello, everybody. Hello, Tracy. Since we talk about mindset, I think that's the biggest factor, to be honest with you. You can have, you can have the right mindset, but if you don't have the willingness, I don't think you will become successful. So I think willingness to learn, willingness to be coached, willingness to follow your whys, willingness to basically chase your dreams, that's one of the biggest factors as well. As long as like what you mentioned, we came from different industries and we wear different hats at the same time. The thing is, when you get into the business, sometimes you actually need to come in with a clean slate. You need to drop whatever you've learned from before, and be coachable and start from zero, and start the business with thinking that, this is a new thing for me, that I have to learn from these successful people. You need to be coachable. You need to follow, whatever your mentors and coaches will advise you to do, because they've been there and their only aim is to help you out, and that's how you can become successful as well in this business. The willingness to learn, the willingness to be coached, and the willingness to just embrace the new journey that you're going to embrace, when you get into this business.
Wow, full of wisdom. Franco, I also follow you a bit of your
No, thank
journey,
you,
and then
Stella.
I heard that, no, I saw that you were in the Philippines for a quite time, right?
Yeah,
A long time, a long
20
time
months,
vacation.
20 months, yeah.
But just curious, since now I see that you have more time for your the thing that matters to you
Mhm.
every day. How much you spend for your business? How your
Um,
business looks like?
you know what? First thing in the morning, after I pray, I start my day with a prayer. I'll immediately grab my phone and check to see, if there's anybody that has inquired about the business, and I kind of, take it from there. But of course, there's other things that matters to me the most, and that's to build memories, right? And just like
Mhm.
last night, I kind of reserve a time in a day where I can actually look after myself. I'm not saying that this business is going to make you crazy busy. But you know what? When you see that there are people inquiring about the business, you don't want to let go of that opportunity. It's because you need to get your goal as well.
Mhm.
So for me right now, I kind of find the perfect formula, the right balance between, the time that I really wanted, which I was able to achieve through this business, and working for my business at the same time. And since the business does not require any specific time, you can actually get onto your business at any time you want. And for me, it is just that I'm addicted to it. That's why I'm always on my phone.
I'm always on my phone too, to be honest. But I do see that. So because a lot of our guests, they are family people, but I just think that you seem to be going around having a lot of fun. So you are a different kind of a guest than the one that we usually have. So what's your biggest takeaway from this entrepreneurial journey for you?
You know what? I always believe in this saying. I mean, I'm not sure, I'm not even sure if this is a saying, but we only live once, right? YOLO. You only live once, and I think life is meant to be lived, right? I'm so glad that I actually put an end to those questions of what could have been and what ifs. And I could proudly say that I'm living my life right now without any regrets. Had it been that I did not check on this business opportunity back in 2018, probably I would have been laid off from my job, when the pandemic happened. Because I've heard from one of my colleagues that there were about 15 people from my department that got laid off, and I would have been part of that if I did not get on this business. So this business had really prepared me for this pandemic. I could say that, and I was able to spend 20 months back home and be with my family, support my family financially, emotionally, physically. It is because the business was working for me in the background, and that itself is a huge blessing. And that will always be my biggest takeaway. That I was able to spend more time with my family as an entrepreneur. It made me realize that life is beautiful. Because when I was an employee, I could only go back home for about 14 days or 21 days maximum. Plus, when I come back, I would be in a lot of debts again. It's because I had to pay for my tickets. I need to borrow money so I can fly back home because I so badly wanted to be with them. But right now, it's a different story. And I know that you've seen it in my post that, it's my first time as well to fly business class through this business. And those experiences, I take that with me every time I go to bed. And I bring that with me whenever I pray, because I just couldn't be more grateful about everything that's happening. So my takeaways are, experiences, my renewed mindset, and of course, in terms of the financial aspect, the business has really change, all of that. So
Wow, I think a lot of people who live abroad and have a big family back home can really relate to this. Even my dream is to be able to go back home like at least 2 years, once in 2 years, because you
right.
just miss them.
My brother-in-law is watching. Hello.
Oh,
Alright, so wonderful. Thank you, Joyce, for watching. Thank you, Jeremy. I hope I said
Jeremy,
that
he's
right.
my brother-in-law. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for watching today. This is Franco. He's a business owner and online coach from our community. Every week we interview somebody from our community. We show you what's possible when you work online. Thank you so much for watching today. We will see you guys again next week.
thank you, Franco.
Yeah.
Thank you, Franco.
If there's something that I can leave your audience with, for those people who know Stella and Jimmy and Jacob, I really wanted you to reach out to them today if they have offered you the opportunity, or if you have inquired about this business. Trust me, that's the best 90 minutes you could ever spend in your life, because that's something that has changed my life. And here I am today talking about my journey. So I highly suggest for all of you to reach out to these two amazing people and ask about the business, or reconnect with them and ask about how this business could potentially change your life as well, because they're highly recommended and they're doing really well in the business, and they are two of the people that we look up to in our community in terms of them helping other people as well. So you will be in the right hands, and they will welcome you with your capable hands. So reach out to them today.
Wow, that's so nice of you. Thank you so much, Franco.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.